Okay, it's Mike here. Top tip today is keep your committed spend to a minimum. Now, what do I mean by committed spend? Well, it's the money that goes out of your bank each month that you really are contracted to pay. So typically in agencies, it's three things. It's office costs, it's staff costs, and then it's access to services such as, I don't know, maybe software as a service, your CRM system, or all these whiz-bang recruitment services are out there that you can buy. Right, here we go. Why do you want to keep it to a minimum? Because there comes a point where you can't pay. You don't have the flexibility to say, well, we're opting out of that now. Even though we use it, we're opting out because we can't afford it. You're contracted, you have to pay it. So the first thing to do is not agree to any more long-term inflexible agreements, month by month only, full stop. And if your offices won't play ball, if your lease is coming up and you're renegotiating it, then consider going to a managed office where it is literally month by month. It costs more, but the flexibility is greater, and you're going to need flexibility over the months and years to come, believe you me. The second thing you can do is you can renegotiate that certainly office costs. You go back and say, I can't afford to pay this, I'm not using it, and what are you going to do? Now, I'm not saying you do that even though you can pay. This is a point where you are really, literally got your back against the wall. And I think a lot of landlords will see the sense in this and go with it. The other thing is, of course, is staff costs. Now, okay, with staff, they're on board, you've got to pay them, that's fair enough. A lot of them probably will be on furlough right now, but they're either going to come back or you have to let them go. Two things to bear in mind, but contrasting. The first thing is don't take people on just because you had them on before. We could be in for a long slog through this recession, and if you're paying money out and not getting a return on that investment, that just drains your resources. However, it's well known that at the end of recessions, and this by the way is my fifth, it's the companies whose team has been retained, the core team has stayed together the longest, that does the best when the recession ends. You just fly, man. So you've got to get that balance between the two. One thing you could do, it's not a nice thing, but if you need to, you could, is just ask people to take a pay drop. I'm sorry, until this recession's over, that's the deal. You may lose one or two people, but then again, there's not a lot of choice out there right now, so maybe you get away with it. And the third thing is things like licenses for software or services. I think, again, don't take in any new ones. Don't do that unless it's month by month so that you can just cancel with a month's notice. It's really important that you do that, because even though they're massively useful and you use them, if you can't afford to pay for them, you're stuffed, you've got no flexibility, so don't do it. Those that you do have deals with offer to pay more per month to get that flexibility. So over a year you'll pay more than you pay now, but you've got that flexibility to cut it if you need to. And bear in mind, even those people are saying, yeah, it's so much a month, but you've got to pay 12 months in advance. They're doing that because they know for some people it doesn't work, or it doesn't work very well, but they've got you then. Also, a lot of these products and offerings were designed and built during the good years. We've just had 10, 12 really good years in recruitment, and it was candidate-led, and that's how they're designed. We're going to be in a client-led market where there are probably less requirements than there are people around to take them. So it's really important not to commit to these things, which on the face of it look like a good idea, and they may well be now, but in 3, 4, 5, 6 months time, not so much. Okay, let me just round up then. So minimize your committed spend, increase your flexibility even if that costs you money, and when negotiating, play hardball. Every pound you save now you might need in 3, 6 or 9 months time, and you can't spend your money twice. Okay, look after yourselves, and I'll see you next week. Take care.